Well, here on the Curvy Couch, former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani. Good morning to you.
Nice to be with you.
So, in watching Donald Trump's speech yesterday from the Detroit Economic Club, some people have suggested that it had echoes of Reagan.
It did.
Right?
I was about to say that. I worked for Ronald Reagan. You know he's my hero. I'm on the board of the Reagan Library for 13 years. And I got to know Mrs. Reagan really well as a personal friend in the last 10 years of her life. So I am a Reagan acolyte. It gives me that same enthusiasm I had when I showed up in Washington in 1981 to be the Associate Attorney General. He's talking about a tax revolution, really. And now, he's following a script. He didn't invent this. He's following John Kennedy and Ronald Reagan and me and about 10 Republican governors. I did that plan he talked about is what I did for New York City. People want to know, how did New York City's economy turn around from 10.5% unemployment to 5 or 6% unemployment? How do we get 600,000 people off welfare? Even before welfare, we started welfare reform 2 years before Clinton and Speaker Gingrich did it. Here's how we did it. We lowered taxes, we lowered regulations,
right,
and we were friendly to business, and we were friendly to big businesses. You know why? Not because I particularly like big businesses, because they have a lot of jobs. That's how you get jobs.
The taxes.
And all those people she's accusing of being his advisors.
The Steves?
The Steves are guys and people who made money.
Well, you know, Americans...
Who understand the American economy. And what she's relying on are a bunch of pinhead professors who haven't made a penny in their lives, have these ridiculous theories like, if I lower a tax, and I used to do this by doing a city budget, and I had a $40 billion budget, immediately they say, I'm going to lose all that money. They don't calculate how much I get from the tax cut. For example, I lowered the hotel occupancy tax in half. I collected twice as much. When Bush raised the capital gains tax, he lost money on the capital gains tax. Mm-hmm. This is much more complicated than the pinheads make it. And Donald Trump, having been in business with a group of businessmen around him, understands what is necessary with tax policy in order to create jobs. Cutting that corporate tax is brilliant. 35% in America, 12.5% in Ireland.
Sure.
Well, you can sell your business.
It's a no-brainer.
What was your reaction to the 50 top Republican national security experts that penned this letter that was printed in the New York Times? They said they can't vote for Donald Trump because they think that he'll risk our national security.
Well, some of the friends of mine, one or two of them were employees of mine when I was United States Attorney. I believe it makes Donald Trump's candidacy really clear. He's running against the Washington insiders. You just heard from all the Washington insiders. These are all the people who have been running policy for the last 8, 10 years and 12 years. The American people have delivered a judgment on that. They say America's headed in the wrong direction. Mm-hmm. These are the people who headed it in the wrong direction.
Well, what are they most threatened by? Is it truly bombastic rhetoric, or is it the fact that they're just not a part of his administration?
Exactly. Everybody else who's run for president has all been part of the club, right? Mitt Romney was part of the club. John McCain was part of the club. John Kerry was part of the club. Al Gore was part of the club. Trump is not part of the club. Thank God. He's not part of the Washington insiders who have brought us, what do we have? We have a dysfunctional government. We have a more dangerous world. Right? We've got a budget that's out of control. We've got a budget deficit out of control. And we have truly anemic tax growth. 3 quarters in a row of less than 2% growth. So, congratulations to the people who did it to us.
Okay, so if...
You want to be on that side? I see this as an election of, you're the guys in the middle. You're the ones who created the reason why the American people believe we're moving in the wrong direction by 70%. And Donald Trump has come from the outside with a group of, Reagan-like ideas to revolutionize Washington. And they don't have the connections to him. They don't. And these are a lot of people who recycle in and out of government.
They go into a revolving door.
Yeah, they go into government, they come out, make a lot of money, go back into government. And Trump is not part.
So is it more of just fear? They're scared of losing their jobs?
No. They don't know him. He's not part of the club. He's not part of the Washington club. Look, frankly, I was part of the Washington club. I was Associate Attorney General. I know 80% of them. I do business with maybe 4 or 5 of them. But they're all part of the Washington insider group. It makes Trump's point dramatically that he is the outsider representing everybody else who doesn't have a lobbyist in Washington.
Mayor, so if you're one of these 50 people and you're saying don't vote for Trump, some have said they're going to vote for Hillary. Others have said they're not going to vote at all. But isn't the effect the same? If you don't vote for Trump and you're a Republican, essentially it's a vote for Hillary.
Here's the difference. There can be a lot of Bernie Sanders people who don't vote for Hillary, except they're not a bunch of Washington insiders, so they can't make headlines. You know, John Smith from Vermont and Tom Jones from Oregon, who's voting against Hillary, is not going to have, because that guy is an outsider. He probably should be voting for Trump. But in any event, this is a perfect example of what this election is all about. Do you want a continuation, government as we've known it for the last 10 to 15 years, which has basically been a government that the American people has pronounced is going in the wrong direction? Or do we want to take the ship of state and turn it around and turn it toward opportunity, toward growth, and toward a much tougher stance on Islamic terrorism than all these people have taken?
Yeah. Well, a recent survey, Political Magazine did a survey, an anonymous survey of America's mayors. And you, as America's mayor, have talked a lot about police and the ramifications of Black Lives Matter. And we've got a poll this poll that went out to America's mayors across the entire country, most of which are Democratic mayors, by the way, over 80% in left-leaning cities. 12% said they were very worried about the safety of their police. 74% worried. You add those together, 86% of America's mayors are either very worried or worried about the safety of their police. Does that surprise you at all?
And 100% of the police are.
Sure.
I can't travel anywhere without being approached by a police officer. Maybe because of my speech at the convention, maybe because they know that I support the police very strongly. And they all tell me, Mayor, you got to speak up for us. We got the target on our back. We have a target on our back. Some of them talk about Black Lives Matter. Some of them talk about the president. Some of them talk about Hillary Clinton. Look, on the floor of the Democratic Convention, there were no uniformed police officers.
You told us that. That's right.
There were no uniformed police officers. She has not submitted an application for an endorsement by the Fraternal Order of Police. They don't like the police. They are anti-police. They are anti-cop. They don't want to lose whatever radical support they have by having policemen around. And that is we are creating an atmosphere in America where it's very dangerous for police.
All right.
Mayor, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. It's going to be traveling with Donald Trump later on today.
All right, let's hand it over to Heather. Thank you.